Hey guys, welcome to the review show. My name's Austin. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is once again directed by Tim Burton and is starring Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and now joining the cast, Jenna Ortega. Generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter's River after an unexpected family tragedy. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life soon gets turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter discovers a mysterious portal to the afterlife. The bat, Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, he is still awesome after how many freaking years he hasn't played the character. I don't know if it's the script or improving, but he still works in this movie. Jenna Ortega is also great. She's a nice, fine addition to the universe. Other characters, though, they feel more cartoonish than what they were in the first one. I gotta also give the film's props too, trying not to be like the first one and trying to add stuff to the lore, while the first one was more of an introduction. Tim Burton's practical effects still really work in this movie. The one thing about doing a sequel so far apart with its original film is that they can feel disconnected, especially the way that they are made. And when I heard that CGI will be also more in use in this film than like stop motion, I kind of got a little bit worried, a tiny bit about it. But you know, it still looked as it would be if it was in the first one, and it still looked great. But holy shit, this movie is convoluted as fuck. It like there's so much going on at once that the movie like drops out a lot of characters, and they come back in, they're like, oh yeah, you were in this movie. And the first Beetlejuice had like this thin line, like you understood what was going on. There were these two couples that died, and now they're ghosts in the afterlife, and they have this family moving into their house that they don't like, so they try to scare them off. And next Beetlejuice becomes a threat at some point in the film. Here you have Delia dealing with the death of in a family. You have Lydia, who is still somewhat haunted by Beetlejuice, and you have Astrid, who is dealing with neglecting her mom and finding this boy, and you have this like love interest that is like an agent that is interested into Lydia. You have Beetlejuice in the film that wants that hears that Lydia's back and he wants to get back into action. You have Dolores, who's kind of like the villain of the film, who's going around killing these dead people to trying to get to Beetlejuice. And next you have Willem Dafoe's character that's kind of investigating all these deaths. So many stories going on that some of them just feel rushed. Like for example, Jenna Ortega's like storyline in this film, you know, where you're wondering how she got into the afterlife. You're like, okay, interesting, cool. This is pretty fucking messed up shit. Where is this gonna go? Oh, absolutely nowhere. It's actually just that's it. Oh, that was kind of cool, but oh, okay. We're moving on again. Monica Bellucci and Willem Dafoe's characters all feel pointless in the movie. They literally add nothing to it, even though that they have somewhat of a big plot in the film. They are hardly in it and don't change any of the story if you take them out. I will say that Monica's character Dolores has the most creepy ass entry into any film I have ever seen in a while. Like that, her entry is like fucking creepy and gross. It's messed up, and like you know, and the film still has like some elements of good filmmaking. This film has some scary elements, and but it also has a lot of comedic moments. It seems like they took the first one and cranked some parts a lot with certain dials, like comedic. A lot. There's so many jokes in this movie that it just really did feel like it was a cartoon. And you know, the first one does have its cartoon moments, but the first one is fucking terrifying. Nothing's gonna be as scary as Barbara ripping her face off when she's hanging in the closet, or when she's starting to deform her face to scare the family out of their house. Next, also, you have an interesting story with these two couple who are trying to deal with the trauma of their being dead. Here, it's like whenever someone dies, it's just like, oh yeah, not a big deal. Like literally, like this is like the like reaction to one another's death. Spoiler number character, I am dead. Oh no, spoiler character, what happened? Or cared about me anyways. Yeah, you're right. Like death in this universe is just kind of like whatever, I guess. It doesn't matter since I guess they could see the ghost, and it's like technically we'd be all together no matter what. There was just not really like any serious moments like the first one had. Everything in this movie was just played for jokes, and it doesn't like you didn't really care about mostly anything besides maybe Jenna Ortega's character. She's the only one that's actually very understandable. Lydia is a sellout in this movie. She's actually the most disconnected out of all the characters. She feels like a completely different person from what she was in the first one. And I get, yes, it's been, I don't know, 30 years since we saw her, but they kind of call her out for it, but they don't do anything with it like most story plot lines in this movie. Astrid and Lydia are not on good terms, and suddenly, yeah, they're just on good terms, and because of one reason, but they don't really talk about it. Again, they make a joke about like, oh, so we're not going to talk about what just happened. Nope, we got to move on to the next scene. Like, oh, okay, you're just supposed to accept that. Since we're making a joke about it, we hope that you guys just don't question it and just forget about it. Since we know that it doesn't make any sense either. There is a lot of good things about this movie, and if you're a fan of the first film, you're gonna enjoy having a good time at the theaters with this one. But I guarantee when you re-put it back in that first one, it's like, what was even the point of watching this whole entire movie? Because this movie doesn't really justify the reason why it exists. Like you're halfway through watching this movie, and you're like, why am I watching this? And the movie kind of answers that, but it's so convoluted with all the stories that it's just like you don't care about anything that goes on in this movie. I'm gonna give Beetlejuice a C+. There's things about this movie I do like, but there's a lot of things I don't like. So it's a mixed bag of both, and that's what I was kind of thinking going in, that I'm gonna think it's all right, and I'm not gonna really remember that much about it. I'll probably try to give it another shot down the line, but at the end of the day, I would just rather watch the first one and just stop after that. That's kind of just me. And a lot of people on TikTok are getting mad at me. Which I just have a skill of pissing off people, I guess. Anyway, guys, go check out Beetlejuice. It is a fun time at the theaters, but it's kind of like a once and one done situation, at least for me. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like always, I'll see you guys next review. Bye, guys.